Howdy, Tracy.
Hi, Donald. Is that Jean? Have we met before? Hello.
Howdy.
It's nice to see another face. A lot of the teachers have been bashful today, so it's good.
Well, I know here at Smoky Road, we just got off another Google Meet, so I know Miss Curtis will be joining us just shortly.
Okay.
You guys had a lot going on today?
From about 1 o'clock on, we're doing a lot of professional learning, so it's been kind of one right after the other, so they got a little crazy for a minute.
Yeah. Two. Yeah. So I don't know if I'm freezing or if you guys are freezing. Is it me?
Maybe you.
Okay.
You may have worn out your computer today.
I haven't rebooted it today. I usually reboot it at the end of the day and like get it, but I've been clearing the caches, so I still know about Wi-Fi. That's a lot of memory for it to keep up with. So should we go ahead and get started? Just let people join, Donald? Since I usually start with housekeeping.
Sure.
Do you want to do the recording?
Yeah. Sorry, my part. For folks who are here right now and folks who will be watching this later, thanks for tuning in. The resources PBS and GPB offer are great resources for you as you're looking for things to help fill in the gaps on the lessons that you've already got for the first 9 weeks. As you're planning for the second 9 weeks, these are great resources for you to pull from. Tracy is amazing and is always willing to help us. So if you get to trying this kind of stuff and want to know more about it, more about how to use some of the strategies that she's going to share with you, those kind of things, she will always come running and help, just like I will. So thank you again. Tracy, do your magic.
All right, thank you. I can't believe it's our last session.
I know, it's only been 5 of them.
Yeah, it's been great. I've been really grateful to hang out with Phil and Donald these past couple of days. It's almost as good as being there with you guys in not quite as previous years, but so thanks guys for having me. This is our last session on physical science resources for secondary. Thank you, Jean, for being our live studio audience. It looks like we have Sharon too. So I appreciate you guys being here. You'll see in front of you that the first slide of my Nearpod presentation gives you a little bit of background information in terms of where we're going to be going over the next hour or so. So if you would like to, if you're interested in Nearpod, I'm not a Nearpod salesperson. I just think it's a great resource for organizing content into one either synchronous or asynchronous presentation. If you'd like to see what it looks like from a student point of view, like if you want to be the guinea pig today and see, okay, normally you'd be the teacher like I am, I'm presenting, but if you want to see what it looks like from a student, go ahead into the Nearpod, join.nearpod.com, and enter that code, which is XGHML. So join.nearpod.com, XGHML. They'll just give you an idea of what this would look like if you were to use it with your students. Now, I am presenting synchronously, so this would be what it's like if you're live with your kids. But remember, you can also create this lesson plan ahead of time and then share it with them in a student-paced version, and then it becomes asynchronous. So they can look at it over the week. They can, complete it over a period of time. So there's 2 different ways you can use it.
And Tracy, the version of Nearpod that you're using is silver, is that correct?
The silver version is the free version. So everything that I'm doing is the same as the silver version. I have one version up because of embedding internet. So say for instance, I want to embed Pbs Learning Media. I can do that with the paid version. But you guys, all you need to do is make a slide that says go to pbs.learningmedia.org. And then they could do the same thing. So it's just that sort of ease of having an actual link. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But everything else I'm doing, you can do. All of the activities, all of the polls and the matchets and all that stuff is part of the free version. And they actually have like a graph that shows you, you know, what's free and what's not. But I think I don't like to sell things. So I'm just kind of showing you everything I could do is pretty much you can do with it free.
Yeah, and guys, so you know, we looked at purchasing a Nearpod subscription for the district. It was very, very expensive.
Yeah,
So,
we have a school one. So, you know, it's different when it's just a school, but district is very big. Yeah. All right, so that's part of what's going on is the Nearpod. I'm going to send you a copy of this, the student-paced version. Also, we have a resource list going on, and that's because I can't cover everything in an hour. We have so much content to share with you that an hour just isn't long enough. I keep trying to figure out where to put your faces. So, you know, so it doesn't block. Okay, so the resource list is here at this shortened URL, and it's also embedded in the Nearpod. And this is what it looks like. It's just a Google Doc, but it is another way for you to access the content. So if you don't want to have to go into the Nearpod, go slide to slide and find where I embedded that one link that you want to use. You can find that link here on this resource list, because everywhere I'm going today is on this list. So you can just find the title of the collection, click on the link you want, there's a description, and that's another way for you to be able to get, you know, the content. And a lot of this content we're not going to get to. So it's just another thing for you to visit in the next few weeks if you're looking for, you know, inspiration to help you with your lesson plan. And then the last thing is we're going to be at Pbs Learning Media and GPB. Those are the only two sites we're going today. We have mentioned a few times with the previous teachers that GPB is no longer able to sponsor Discovery Education just because of the extreme cost and all our 10% budget cuts. We weren't able to do that anymore, but you still have access to PBS and GPB. So rather than having 300,000 pieces of content, you have 100,000, which is still more than enough to fill your time, believe me, because I've spent hours and hours trying to narrow it down to things that are really just the best. All right, so that is where we're going to be today, those three, just to give you a little heads up so you're not confused when we jump around. And again, as Dom mentioned, I'm Tracy Wiley with Georgia Public Broadcasting Education. So I do support all 81 school districts in North Georgia, including Coweta. You guys are definitely one of my favorites. And so I really enjoy being there with you. So thanks for having me again, and reach out to me anytime on email or Twitter. Always happy to help how I can. And I'd love to hear from you guys too. Any feedback on what you're looking for, what you need, some resource we have that doesn't quite work, needs an update, please let me know. That's all of our decisions in terms of production are based on your feedback. All right, our goals today are to become familiar with our resources for secondary physical science in GPB and PBS. And we're also, besides just looking at the content, which can be overwhelming, we're also going to talk about some of those grab and go assignments that you just literally have to assign via Google Classroom and you're done. And also some strategies that you can pair with the content to make more engaging, especially virtual online learning. So it's not just going to be me going through a list of content. We're going to start with GPB, and I want to show you three things at GPB. First of all is our Georgia Home Classroom, where every single piece of content is aligned to a standard in order from beginning of year to end of year. So I want to make sure you guys are aware of that and how to find it. I also want to highlight our live explorations in our video series because we also address the standards, but from a very Georgia-specific point of view. So it's some content that may just be a little bit more engaging because it's familiar. So definitely want to make sure you're aware of that for your kids. And then we also have physical science courses. If you're not aware of our Chemistry Matters and our Physics in Motion courses, those are complete courses for high school chemistry and physics, but they also are aligned like 70–80% with physical science for middle school and high school. So a lot of teachers don't realize those alignments, and they're quite appropriate for middle school and high school physical science too. So I want to make sure you're aware of that. So we're going to start with the Georgia Home Classroom. Again, if you're not aware of this, it is at gpb.org. It's on the education page. So, you know, there's news, there's sports. We have our own education page up here in the right-hand corner. You just click on education. And when you do that, it's going to take you to our page where the very first thing up here below the search box is the Georgia Home Classroom. And if you don't remember, we designed this in March with the Department of Education to help teachers who are being thrown into this virtual teaching environment have a resource for every single standard from pre-K through 12th grade. So there is not one standard that is not covered in this Georgia Home Classroom. So if you click on the Learn More button, it will take you into the classroom. If you scroll down, and this section here, Find Learning Resources, is what you want for the older kids. These two on the right are more for little kids, excuse me. But click on this Find Learning Resources, and then it's going to take you into the actual section. So it starts with pre-K, of course, all the core 4 and beyond, even Spanish resources. Scroll down till you get to your 8th grade. Here we go, 8th grade science. And if you click on 8th grade science, then it will take you to every single standard, starting from S8P1 in order. So S8P1 has this particular video and lab that's associated with it from Chemistry Matters. It tells you, what it is in general, the skill and the standard it covers. You can scroll down. There's another one for S8P1, another video and lab. And we're going to be looking at these as well, but you'll see lots of Chemistry Matters here. But keep on scrolling. And you should get to other things as well. Here's one. This is from Mineral Mixtures and Mining. There's another lesson plan for S8P1. So you can see there's quite a lot here. Build a Better Lunchbox from Pbs Learning is S8P2. So as you scroll down, you'll see every single standard is covered multiple times. Motion in the Ocean. So this is a great place to start when you're looking for those supplemental materials, either in the first 9 weeks or the second 9, after those first 9 weeks. Just looking for things to flesh out your lesson plans. These are all engaging, standards aligned, free. So I would start there. Besides that, I also wanted to highlight some video series and virtual learning supplements that I really think are useful, again, aligned to secondary physical science. The first series is called Things Explained, and this is an example of one of those resources that we created based on your feedback. So again, if you have anything that is timely, Georgia aligned, that you would like to be able to share with your kids, please let us know. Of course, we just recently did an episode on PPE because it is timely, it affects Georgia. So this is about PPEs in general and specifically in a Georgia, environment. But we also did, the hurricane when it came through. A couple of years, last year, we did the eclipse when it came through back in 2017. But I want to highlight for you guys for physical science that there are the implosion of the Georgia Dome is really interesting for physics, force. And then also the building of the new Benz, which talks a lot about energy, solar energy and conversion. So those are really interesting. And again, they connect, of course, to our Georgia experience. We also have this one on buoyancy that I think is useful too. How do ships float? That was our very first episode, so it goes back a few years, but still very timely and interesting and connected to our experience. The next thing I want to highlight for you guys is live exploration. So we used to twice a year. I don't know if it'll happen this year. And our one last year got canceled, unfortunately, the one in spring. So usually twice a year in the fall and the spring, we go somewhere live so that kids and teachers can join us live at these locations all over the state. And so then we archive, the recordings and all the teacher resources that went with them. So there are a couple, I think, that really work well with physical education. The first one is our live exploration to the Atlanta Symphony Orchestra. It talks not just about music, but about the science of sound and mechanical waves, and of course puts it in the context of an orchestra. So it's really fun, very well done. And I think another one that goes well with our physical science is our exploration last year to Georgia Tech's Invention Studio. It's a little more STEM oriented, but of course it talks a lot about the science and technology of physical science, especially. That one also, that's actually our producer's favorite. So I would definitely recommend those. Georgia Tech is kind of sexy in that sense. A lot of kids really think about Georgia Tech as a place they may want to study. So it's fun to go into their Invention Studio and see what it looks like on the inside. And I'll just click on that one so you can see what these look like. Especially now that kids have more time and they have time to do these deep dive explorations, these are fun places to go. So here's the support materials. It's really aligned for 3rd through 8th grade. And so you can see when you click on the support materials, it has all these, things affiliated with it that they can go and visit more and get a little bit more connections. And the video itself is about an hour long. So it's just something for them to look at and kind of see if they're interested in studying technology and science. All right, so I want to focus, so actually I wanted to mention that I kind of jumped ahead, but the S8P4 is a really great standard for aligning with that science of sound. The Atlanta Symphony Orchestra obtain, evaluate, and communicate information to support the claim that electromagnetic waves behave differently than mechanical waves. So this particular standard goes really well with the ASO live exploration. And then another thing I think that goes really well with this particular standard, obtain, evaluate, and communicate information about the law of conservation of energy, is another exploration that we do through our Fast Forward series. So Fast Forward is the series we do about careers in Georgia. And so we traveled all over the state and highlighted certain jobs and careers in the STEM. And so you can see that we have these collections on science and STEM. You click on science here, it takes you to, it's actually not the one I wanted to do. Let me go back. So the science will take you to a whole collection, but I wanted to focus on this one on Six Flags because this particular lesson we just talked about, you know, on this, the difference, transformation between kinetic and potential energy. Of course, we often think of roller coasters, and when we're in Georgia, we think of Six Flags. So this is a really great journey into careers at Six Flags and talks about kinetic and potential energy. There's standards alignments, vocabulary here. I'm just going to play a little bit of this video. It's about 6.5 minutes long, and you'll see that you can pull out pieces of it. So you can learn about adrenaline, you can learn about the transfer of energy and angular momentum. So there are other things that you can pull out of the video just and focus on, but it really is a fun video about how physics and physical science works in the real world to give the kids those connections that we're not just learning in a vacuum. This stuff actually does affect our lives. And even things that we really love and miss, like going to the amusement park. I'll play a little bit of this so you can get the flavor of it.
Can I get a minute? Not feeling so good.
Yeah, so that's me. Even watching that video makes me a little sick, but again, it's just a hook. That was 37 minutes of just 37 seconds of you know, being in a roller coaster virtually. And then they go in, of course, and talk about, you know, the physics and things. But it's just a good, fun series that gets your kids engaged. All right, I also wanted to mention that all these videos that I've shown you, the live explorations, the teachable moment, or the things explained, and also these fast forward videos, you can get them on YouTube. So if you don't want to find them as part of the collection, just know that they're available in YouTube. You can just go into our YouTube channel here on GPB Education, click on playlists, and then you'll see under the playlist, there's our things explained, there's PPE at the top of it. Down here is fast forward, where we just look. This one's on Raleigh Studios, where The Walking Dead it was filmed. They've now been purchased by another one, but the thing is still the same exploration. That's one of my favorites, zombies. So you can look at these playlists as well. All right, and that is pretty much it for those that first bit. Just our video series and our sort of summary of all of our content. I'm about to dive into these courses, but I wanted to pause and just see if there's any questions or thoughts about anything I've showed you so far. So we're moving kind of quickly. Anything you wanted to add, Donald? You've seen me go through those a couple times.
No, I think you're right down the middle again.
Okay, great. So this is something different because these courses are unique for physical science, secondary physical science. So we're going to a little bit into chemistry matters and physics in motion. So we developed these. Physics in motion came out 2 years ago. Chemistry matters, I think 3 years ago. But they are still, of course, really relevant. They are entire courses. So if you are a high school chemistry or physics teacher, everything you need is pretty much in these courses. All of the videos, all of the labs, all of the assessments, the note-taking guides, all the questions, it's all complete. And so you'll see when you look at these, support materials, they're quite extensive. I'm going to click on the support materials for Unit 1 here, because I want to pull up, as we're going to this, the standard alignments for chemistry and physical science. So here in the toolkit, third thing down are those standards alignments. And this makes the course relevant for several different courses. So it makes it relevant for high school chemistry, for high school physical science, and for middle school. So for instance, Unit 2, Segment C, Physical Properties and Phase Change, you can see that this whole segment aligns to SC2A and B and SC3B of high school chemistry, but it also aligns to SPS 5A and SPS 7D of high school physical science, and it aligns to S8 P1B and D of middle school physical science. So if you're looking for content, even in your middle school, you can pick and choose by going through this crosswalk and finding the standards that align to each of these segments. So it really is useful across all 3 of those courses. I'm not sure who will be watching this, but just want to mention everyone can get something out of this. So the way that this is divided, I'm sort of going through it. There are 12 units within this Chemistry Matters, and each unit is divided into segments. So you can see I'm in Unit 1 now. I can jump to other units. There are 12 of them. Starts with introduction, ends with a recap, and in between you've got matter and bonding and solutions and equilibrium, all kinds of good stuff. So when you jump to a particular unit, it will take you into different segments, because we didn't want to plop the kids down in front of a 45-minute video like our older chemistry series. We want it to be more interactive. So these are broken into segments. And the idea is you can share this 5.5-minute segment with your kids. What is chemistry? And especially in this virtual learning environment, so much better than them having to watch this long, long video. They can just take in these first 5 minutes, process that, and then work on the content that's associated with that one segment. So here we are in segment A. There's a vocabulary that goes with this one segment, 5.5 minutes. And then in the teacher's guide, that you can get the guide, and that helps you, also gives you teaching points that help you with each segment as well. So every segment's going to be like this. If I go to segment B, hypotheses and models, this of course is just getting started. Again, here's that short video, 5.5 minutes, and you've got your vocabulary, your teacher's guide. As you get deeper into the content, so I'm going to actually jump into, let me see if I can go to a different unit so you can see more of the robust. Let's see if we can go down to, if you have a request, I'll just jump into atomic structure, or we'll do introduction to matter since that's probably in the beginning.
Yep.
Introduction to matter. So you see segment A, B, C, D, E, F, all of these cover that. And if we go into, say, segment G, separating mixtures. So here's the video for that one. And what this does is it has kids in a lab. It's a mock lab. So since unfortunately your kids cannot be in a real lab, at least they can watch these kids doing the lab and get something out of that. So it's about 9.5 minutes of these kids exploring the lab, asking questions, defining problems. They're using their core, going blank, but they're using their skills that they need in this section. Here's the standards that it aligns to. Here's the vocabulary as well. And the support material, there's a note-taking guide, some problems that go with it, and then here's the lab candy chromatography. We may be able to actually do some of this at home. This requires like literally candy and coffee filters, if I remember correctly. And so I think they could even do this one at home if they can just get some candy and coffee filters. All right, so that's sort of an idea of how they're broken down and how you can find the resources in each segment. So any questions about that, or if there's something I need to review, or if you're confused about how I got here, let me know. I know I'm jumping around a little bit. Physics in motion is arranged the same way. So once you've learned one, you'll get the other one. They're exactly the same. Start unit 1 here, jump to a unit. Physics in motion has 7 units rather than 12, but they're the same way. There's 7 units divided into 59 segments. So again, it's not just one forever long unit. You can still apply for the teacher guide. The support material still has that alignment. Where is it? The Georgia Standards of the Standards alignment here. So this is for physics and physical science. So you can see it's the same thing. We've got high school physics on the left, and you have high school physical science in the middle, and middle school physical science on the right. So it's another way for you to find how it aligns. And then again, the difference between these is that you have a studio guide, so 2 guides in the studio, and then the other 2 guides are out in the field. So whereas Chemistry Matters is all laboratory work in a studio, a mock lab, physics, they actually travel all over the state and they demonstrate physics in real world. So you can see she's out here, you know, in this area exploring fission. So they go, again, they go to like amusement parks, they go to dams and talk about hydro electrical energy. They go to the Porsche test track and talk about, you know, force and motion. So they're actually getting out into the real world and talking about how physics is relevant. So I think I like this one better than Chemistry in Motion just because it's much more engaging and it just shows places that I'm familiar with.
I like it better too, but because it was created by a team, and one of those team members was a former student of mine and a former Coweta County teacher. So Katie Lowry was the one who helped put this together. She was kind of their content lead.
Yes, she's amazing.
Yes.
She's the one that made, by the way, that crosswalk doc that I keep referring to. Katie made that.
Yeah.
Because you know, that was something that would have taken me a couple years to do. And Katie was like, oh yeah, I can do that over the weekend. And so she literally put it out like in a day. I was mind blown that she could just do that. Just be like, I know what all this aligns to. So it's fabulous. Yeah, and of course, you know, these hosts are really great too. They're young, they're diverse, they're just really fun hosts. So I definitely recommend this one. It's a great show. All right, so that is, again, a lot. That's just from GPB, our favorite, you know, collection of content, our video series, and then those entire courses that, again, really are all you need if you're looking for one-stop shopping for physical science and chemistry and physics. Any thoughts, questions on that, guys? I'm not sure who's out there and what you need, so just please chat in the box. So you said YouTube may or may not be blocked, Donald?
Yeah, YouTube, it depends. Some stuff is blocked, some isn't, and we haven't really been able to figure out a good way to make it work. So GPB, the things being embedded in the website make it a whole lot easier and accessible for our teachers.
Okay, so yeah, GPB and PBS, they're in there too. Everything I showed you, fast forward, things explained, physics in motion, chemistry matters, that's all on PBS as well. Everything we produce, we duplicate into PBS Learning Media. So you can find it everywhere. But we also put it in YouTube for those teachers now who are using that in these particular circumstances. All right, so now we're going to PBS Learning Media, focus on physical science. We're going to, again, talk about their overall content, how to find it. I'm going to focus on my favorites, again, like I just did with GPB, and then we're going to work on those strategies and grab and go lesson plans for the next 30 minutes. We have until 3 o'clock, right?
Yep.
Yes. Okay, so here we go. So this is what PBS Learning Media looks like. If you're not familiar with it, I'm just going to do a very short summary. I am currently signed in. You'll see up at the top, it says my name, Tracy. I would very highly recommend that you guys go ahead and create a free account. It does not cost anything. You can sign in with Google Classroom, which is what I recommend. You can sign in with Facebook if you want. You can sign in with your Coweta County email. I'd recommend Google Classroom since that is the best way to get this content to your kids. But once you're signed in, then you have your own account. You can favorite whatever you like. So I have favorited a lot of Sesame Street videos because I'm a big fan. You can put things in folders. So like I have an entire folder of my favorite Sesame Street music with will.i.am and Ed Sheeran and, you know, all those guys, Bruno Mars, who come and sing with the puppets. So I love that. So you can do that. And these folders you can share with people. You can literally copy a link to your entire folder. So if Donald makes a folder called My Favorite Physical Science Stuff from PBS Learning Media, he can copy the link to that folder, send it to you, and everyone in Coweta County can see Donald's favorite physical science things in his folder. I love that about PBS. It's wide open. So great thing there. You can also create your own assignments. You can put your classes. So this is connected directly to Google Classroom, and you can build your own tools. So the tools are cool things like lesson builders, quiz makers, storyboards, and puzzles. You can do all of that with your own account. But you don't need an account just to see like videos and lesson plans, because again, these are wide open. You can just click on any of these, although that was ELA. Let me click on the social studies, or I mean the science one, how to search for life. And so I've clicked on this lesson plan. You can see all I have to do is copy the URL at the top here and share that, and everyone can see this as well. But if I want to share it to my Google Classroom, I do have to log in as a teacher and share it. But you can see it's just wide open, all these great resources. So if I want to find something in PBS Learning Media, the easiest way to find it, if you're looking for maybe a specific topic like physical science, is to go to subject here, click on the subjects, go over to science, and click on physical science. And then it'll pull up everything. So 1,300 plus videos on physical science, but I can start narrowing it down by subtopic on the left, or I can click the grade. So I know that you guys are going to be, middle and high school. So I can start just to kind of click on each grade, get what I need, even PD, 13 plus is PD. So now I can see, all right, so I've got 1,100 videos, narrowed it down a little bit, but I can also look for, if I don't want videos, I can do games like simulations, like Donald mentioned, or just any kind of interactives, interactive graphs or interactive graphics, you can do that. Images, even entire web pages and collections. That's a good way to narrow it down that way. You can even sort it by things that are most popular, other teachers like the best, or things that are the newest releases. So that's one way to find your way around. Another way is you can sort by grade level. So if you do want to just go in and click on just middle school and do it that way, I don't find that as useful, but play around with it, see what you like. You can sort by standard. If you go into standard, you type your state standard here, you choose Georgia, and you choose the GSEs, and then you can start, picking like your grade. So if we did 8th grade, I could browse and pull up all 8th grade standards for Georgia, or I could go in here and type things like maybe magnet and see if I can find anything there. And so I've got one standard here, S8P4, click on that, and it'll pull up 12 results that help me teach that one standard. So that's another way that you can do is search by standard. And then the last way you can search is by just clicking on the keyword up here. And again, you could do magnet for that and pull up everything you can find on magnets. Or you can search for nothing to get everything. So if I just do an open search with no keyword at all, it'll pull up everything, 32,000 results. And then I can start narrowing it down over here on the left. Pick science and the grade level and physical science. I can even narrow it down by language if I just want Spanish resources. And I can narrow it down by whether it can have support materials, whether I can download it, whether it has closed captioning. You can see I even have like all this Spanish content. It's pretty cool. Also in ES. All right. So that is, again, a quick summary of PBS Learning Media. Any questions about that? I know that's a lot in a short period of time. I hope I haven't put them to sleep. I know it's late in the afternoon, right around the time of a siesta. All right, guys, I'm going to move along unless I get, alarms and panic. I'm going to keep on going. Okay, so here is a physical science. Again, just some highlights there. If you do little searches for physical science, how to narrow it down. So I wanted to focus on my favorite collections because I've spent a lot of time in this platform and have found things that I like that I think are especially engaging and fun. This one's called Scigirls, and it's aligned for 5th through 8th. So I know we have some middle school teachers in here. I see a chat. Do I need to? Yes, it's extremely user-friendly. Thank you, Jean. I used to spend a lot of time training on Discovery Ed because it's hard to use. It's a little complicated. I didn't spend a lot of time training on PBS Learning Media because I think it's really intuitive. So I think once you go in there, you'll figure it out. I had no training on it. I figured it out just from trial and error. And as scientists, we're really good at that, right? So I think you'll figure it out really quickly. So here, you'll see that Scigirls has a whole section on physical science. And what I really like about these guys is that they really apply science in the real world. Of course, they're girls. You don't have to just, it doesn't have to be just for girls. It can be for boys too. But it really, this group of girls goes in and explores science in the real world. You can see the videos again, really short and engaging. You know, this longest one here is what, 4 minutes. So it's another wonderful resource to share in a virtual environment, either synchronously if you want to do something super short like this minute-long video, or asynchronously if you just want to share, you know, a 4-minute video as part of a lesson plan. The girls are out and about. They're really excited about physical science, and there are these support materials with every video. So if I click on, you know, this one about installation station, you'll see that it comes with, it can be downloaded, it's aligned to standards, it is available in English and Spanish, and it comes with these support materials, this inquiry process for teachers, this teaching tips, and a couple of this other thing, this booklet on Scigirls, how to engage girls in STEM. So again, a lot of supportive materials around this and a very user-friendly platform. So the next one I want to highlight for you guys, that was Scigirls. Next one's Design Squad Nation. It's another one of my favorites. I really love this one. You see on the left, it's got electricity, force and energy, simple machines, sound and music, new structures, a lot of things to do with physical science. In any one of these, if you go into electricity, again, these documents, these are actual experiments they can do at home. Hack a greeting card. Surely some kids have some greeting cards lying around, how to hack it, what to do with glow sticks. And there are also, you know, videos just about the basics. How does a fuse work? How does a solenoid work? And some more activities, motorized cars and dance pad mania. So a lot of really fun things they can do, either with you or some of them may be appropriate to do by themselves at home. So videos and activities, and each one of these, this is very much hands-on science. You guys have probably done some of these balloon cars and string puppets. So hopefully some of your kids have string or yarn and straws lying around the house, or they have, you know, balloons and things that they can do some of these activities. I've done balloon joust at PD and it's super fun. So hopefully some of these will give you some ideas for things you can help your kids with. And then the next thing I wanted to highlight is, again, my Nova. Well, I always kind of go back to Nova because they just seem to have something for everything. So we did life science at Nova, we did earth science, and now we're in physical science. They have matter, motion, energy, waves. So again, just such a rich resource, broken down to these subtopics with, again, videos, media galleries, interactives. So and all of these do have standards alignments. So if I go to this one right here, let's just click on 3 things faster than light from What the Physics. And you'll see this particular one has support materials, comes with discussion questions, very short, fun video, 3.5 minutes long, tells you what other videos are on the same topic, and you can share this with your kids via Google Classroom. So it's collections there. And then my last one, my favorite one probably, It's Okay to Be Smart. Again, has something for everybody. Here's physics over here on the left. So we're looking for some physical science, and you can see things like the small problem of shrinking ourselves, the real physics of hot air balloons, what is fire? One of my favorites, there's no such thing as cold. I love this one. So these, again, super engaging. I always start here. Whenever I'm looking for content, I always go to It's Okay to Be Smart first. I just think they're a hoot. So if you're looking for some instructional hooks and ways to engage your kids, I would definitely recommend this first. Don, I don't know if there's any, do you have experiences with some of these others that, you know, you find, Nova or any of the What the Physics or Scigirls? Have you seen any of those or heard from them or your teachers?
You know, what I really like about the platform is that the videos that you're sharing are more broken up into smaller bite-sized pieces. You know, we discourage showing an hour-long video in class. So a lot of those are built on the shorter time frames, more engaging for the kids. So, you know, that's what I hear a lot from my teachers, that use those resources like that the shorter time frames are better. So.
Yeah. I think, you know, it's also just, it's interesting how we've changed. When we were young, we were so into, you know, watching things on VCRs and televisions. We'd sit there and watch things for 30, 45 minutes. The kids now like these bite-sized informational bits just because of the way technology has changed. And so I think it's saying something, the way that these platforms have come up with ways to present the material so it's not overwhelming, but it's still comprehensive in 2 minutes or less.
Yep.
Pretty crazy.
Yep.
All right, so instructional strategies. So that was a lot of videos and content I showed you, just kind of loose. So how do you take those strategies and apply them and share them with your kids? That's really the question. Because you have tons of content, but how do you present it in a meaningful, engaging way? So that's where the instructional strategies really come in. And we've created this very simple, straightforward doc that's available to everyone, wide open, with sites for our favorite strategies. And the two I've been highlighting today is Harvard's Project Zero and the University of Oklahoma K2O Learn. So I just want to go ahead and click on one of these, a Harvard Project Zero, and it will take you into their toolbox where they have many, many of their thinking routine strategies. If you scroll down, you'll see that these strategies, you know, help kids with their core thinking routines, with synthesizing and exploring ideas, with perspectives and digging deeper. But what I really like is how you can align, how you can narrow it down by teaching subject. So you can click on science here, and even if you don't click anything else in the filters, and it'll just highlight those that are especially good for science teaching. And so some of these you may recognize: See, Think, Wonder, Compass Point. Some are probably a little bit more popular than others. Red light, yellow light. But some of the ones you may not have seen. So 3, 2, 1 bridge I had not heard of before, and I was, you know, getting ready for this presentation, found that one. I really like that one. So as you go and explore these, you'll find some new ideas, hopefully, for taking these engaging videos. And rather than saying, watch this video, answer this question, watch this video, tell me 3 things you learned. These are just really creative ways of presenting the content that your students can use to help scaffold, you know, their knowledge. And then another one that we really like is University of Oklahoma. So you click on that one. Again, you have access to these. So you can click on them anytime. And you'll see this one has filters too. I'm going to click on the advanced filters here. And so you can filter this by the size of the group you're working with, by the time you have to actually do the activity, by where you want it, whether you want it as a hook or as a closing or somewhere in the middle, an extension activity. Here's, of course, you know, what it does. It helps them with their problem solving skills or their summarizing skills or their collaborating skills, and then even grade level. So you can start narrowing them down that way by just clicking on things, and it starts to kind of close it down here. And then these little cards are the actual strategies. So there's a name of it and a little short summary of what it does. Blackout poetry, collaborate word clouds, collaborative word clouds. They're all very interesting sounding, and you click on them and it tells you a little bit more about how to do the strategy with your kids. So I find this super, super useful when you're looking for some inspiration for this very strange virtual teaching environment we find ourselves in. So for this particular strategy, F8P1, I wanted to pair this, this standard, obtain, evaluate, and communicate information about the structure and properties of matter. And I wanted to pair that with an instructional strategy. So this one is called 10 times 2. And it's sort of like See, Think, Wonder, but it's a little bit different. So it kind of mixes things up a little bit. So I'm going to play an animation for you. This is a simulation, one of the many simulations that are available in PBS Learning Media. So what you just need to do is watch it quietly for at least 30 seconds. So again, you can do this synchronously, where you just give your kids 30 seconds to watch it. Or you can do it asynchronously, where you send them the plan. After they've watched this animation, they're going to write down 10 words or phrases about what they observed. And really, again, no right or wrong answer, just what are your kids pulling out of this animation? And it can be anything. I think the key is really just to do it quietly. So can you find an image for them to observe 30 seconds? Can you find an animation, but without that extra layer of text or speech, but just kind of having them observe. So we're going to watch this animation, and I won't have you guys list the 10 words or phrases, but I'm just going to show you ways you can do it and just be thinking about it. And then what's going to happen is we're going to repeat steps 1 and 2. We're going to watch it again and then try to add 10 more. So again, it's really trying to get those kids to dig deep into their knowledge and their observation skills and their understandings, and come up with ultimately 20 words or phrases just about this simple, animation. So here we go. It's a little challenging. It's a higher depth of knowledge. Here's the animation. It is from the SimBucket science simulations. Really great for physical science. So many different simulations they can work with. And I'm just going to play this one about melting and boiling. And the cool thing is that the kids can interact with it. So I'm not just watching it. I can turn up the heat, turn down the heat. I can, totally manipulate it. I can get destructive if I want. That's actually a lot of fun. Okay, so here we go. You can see what's happening, but I can pause it, give it a break. It still kind of goes. And you can see at the top what's happening, with the water temperature. And now melting has taken place, but you'll see the temperature is starting to go up, right? And what's happening with the molecules. And so again, this just goes on and on and on. And I can pause it if I want to. I can go back and start all over. So you can see that it's just kind of, they can do whatever they want within that 30 seconds or minute or however long. You might want to limit it to 30 seconds just to see, what happens if they watch it for just 30 seconds and write down 10 things. And then what happens if they get to watch it the next 30 seconds? Because if you pause it, then things continue to happen. So you can see those little molecules getting crazier and crazier. Now what happens at 100 degrees? Maybe that's an observation that they have noticed. Then what's happening? We got these different states of matter, molecules going everywhere. And now it's gone. So again, just a really simple simulation, but a lot of observations they can make if they do this, this 10, what is it called again? Just trying to learn this 10 times 2. So here is a way that they can share this. This is called just an open answer on Nearpod, and it comes with a free level. So this just says share 10 words or phrases about what you observed during your first interaction with the animation. And then this is a way that they can submit that to you, and you can have a copy of it. So it's like an assessment. So once a student submits it, you should be able to see it as the teacher. There you go. Thanks, Donald. You can see his answer. And I can even share that out, so now everyone can see Donald's, my A+ students.
Yes. It's actually Dutch, what I did.
Okay, there we go. All right, so it's just another tool for you guys to be aware of. All right, in the last 10 minutes and our close up, I just want to share with you my favorite part about Pbs Learning Media. This is something new they've just introduced this past school year, and they're continuing to add new lesson plans. And I mentioned in my last session that GPB also is going to be adding about 30 lesson plans to go with our virtual field trips. And if those go well, we'll continue to create these. So that's kind of like our pilot project. So these are lesson plans that are online and ready to go. Oh, and actually I forgot, I have simulations first. So we'll get into them in a minute. So that sim bucket simulation I just showed you guys the melting. It came from here. So there are all these simulations here. We did circuit building before, balloon charging for our elementary teachers. But you can see that here we also have a lot of physical science going on. So density and all this, osmosis. Here's the melting and boiling simulation that I chose. There's lenses and mirrors. So this is a way to get your kids actively engaged in physical sciences when they can't do it in the lab. There are many, many of these simulations. And there's also this ChemThink here, which goes into atomic structure, covalent and ionic bonding, molecular shapes, particulate nature of matter. So there's also that chemistry simulations as well. So keep those in mind if you're looking for, online simulations to kind of help replace that missing lab component of these first few months, the first few weeks. And then here is the interactive lessons from UNC TV. Again, really love these. There are several of them that have been created, and I'm going to highlight a couple of them for you here just to show you what they look like. But these are those interactive lessons I mentioned. So this particular one I'm going to highlight is great for, sorry, I've got the number wrong, but this is about Newton's laws of motion. Construct an explanation using them to describe the effects of balanced and unbalanced forces on the motion of an object. So this one is about baseball, and it kind of goes a little bit with current events these days. Newton's triple play, baseball science. So this lesson plan, I'll show you here that here's support materials it goes with, teaching tips, discussion questions, etc., standard alignments. But I'm going to launch it so you can see what it looks like to your students. So if you were to assign this to your student, this is what it would look like. They would go into it, they would launch it, and they would see that it's 12 pages long, that there is a glossary for them that identifies and describes and defines all the words, some of the key vocabulary words. There's a My Work folder, so when they save their work, they can work on this lesson plan over time and it will save their work. And then there's a menu which goes through all 12 pages. So the first page is an introduction, the last page is the final assignment, and then in between we've got Newton's first law of motion, Newton's second law of motion, Newton's third law of motion. So it goes through each of them in this lab. So the first page, all in the game, a little bit about baseball. You can see that there is a video here with a transcript. So there's some accessibility tools.
Baseball, man.
It is less than a minute long. There's a great stop action of force and motion right there. And it tells you what you'll do, and then it asks you to take some notes, examples of forces and motion you observed in the video, and save when you're done. So that's page 1, just a note-taking place for them to work with. Page 2 highlights some vocabulary and defines each vocabulary word in the short video. I love this because it really goes into the specifics of each vocabulary word, why it's important, and then it asks them to take notes by answering these questions. So each page is interactive. You know, everything's embedded, but it also is asking them to stop and think about what they're learning. Again, video, transcript, take notes on page 3. Keep on going. This is when we get into the fun part. So now we're in the review. So that was kind of building up the knowledge, and now they have this match it where they have to review. So it says we're going to check your understanding of forces, motion, and the law of inertia by finding the words that correctly complete the sentences. You click on match it, and now the kids have to fill in the vocabulary words within these statements. So it shows their command of the vocabulary in the unit. And then they'll save it and you'll get to see how they did. Here's page 5, a review again, more videos that they can watch and get a little bit more information about baseball and Newton's laws. And then here's some 3 multiple choice questions, again, just to see what they're understanding. So that continues to go. Now we're in the second law of motion, same thing, note-taking guide, and then there's a review and a wrap up. So at the end, I'm going to jump down to page 11, organize your work. And you can see that it's got this, again, it's sort of a accumulation of all that's been learned. It's got some ideas about things you can do, create an Instagram or animated storybook, expand your notes into a script for a podcast, compose and perform a rap or poetry slam, make a video of yourself. So all these things can be done in a virtual environment. And then here is how they can organize their ideas about, you know, how they want to put things in. So all these definitions and how to apply them, because all this is part of the rubric. So it's embedded rubric in the lesson plan as well, which you don't even have to worry about. And of course you can, you know, flesh it out in your instructions. And then here is your notes, write it out. So write your essay here, attach a file, or provide a link. So it all, again, is a complete lesson in 12 pages that you can share with your kids. And there are several like that. So you did notice back here when we were in the UNC TVs that I highlighted the baseball one, but you can also see there's one meaning of matter right here, one on sound waves, one on mechanical waves, one on light waves. And that's not the only interactive. So if I go to PBS Learning Media and search again by science and physical science, and then I go over here to filter by type, interactive lesson, there are 25 interactive lessons all about physical science. Some of them are going to be low, like grade 2, but even so, I think I feel like some of these grade 2 lessons are actually, could even be applied as a beginning activity with your kids to get them used to the platform. It's like, for instance, this one on squirrels about motion. Obviously, it's going to be a little kind of easy for your kids, but they may not be used to this lesson plan. So how do you get them used to this format? Maybe assign them, you know, this early, easy lesson plan. This one is 24 pages long, and that's because it is broken down by Lexile levels. So it's another way too for you to kind of see, you know, maybe see how your kids are doing in terms of their Lexile, their reading abilities. There's low, middle, and high throughout, basically 3 lesson plans in one, according to the Lexile level. So hopefully that at least is something you can learn, you can use just to assign your kids and see how they're doing in that virtual environment lesson plan. So that's it, guys. We got 5 minutes to review. We went over PBS Learning Media, just how to find the content, how to organize it into your folders and favorite things. Also talked about some of the favorite collections in PBS like Scigirls and Nova and UNC TV and It's Okay to Be Smart. And then we went through strategies from Harvard Project Zero, the strategy 10 times 2. And then we looked at some grab and go simulations and lesson plans that hopefully you can just use right now with your kids. And that's all I had to share. So just want to pause, see if there are any questions or thoughts, or Donald, if you want to add anything, we'll wrap it up.
Jane, Sharon, you guys have any questions?
Thanks for being our studio audience, guys.
Yeah. Seriously, guys, reach out to Tracy. She is fantastic, and she will help you out if you need it, as will I. I'm definitely working on some demonstration lessons to show you guys kind of how to use this kind of stuff, similar to what Tracy has done. I know that like seeing all of this was a lot to swallow, drinking from the fire hose, but if you'll go back in, Gina, I think you're spot on that PBS Learning is very easy to work with, especially with Google Classroom. So yeah, I just think if you'll jump in there and give it a shot, I think it'll be great. I want to say thanks to Tracy too. We've been doing this for about 6 hours straight here, and I'm amazed at her stamina and that you hadn't lost your voice. So.
Drink lots of water and tea.
Yeah.
No, it's been fun. Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am.
I noticed Sharon in the chat right at the beginning asked, because it concerns me as well, that the students actually had difficulties viewing the videos when she attempted to share them last year.
Which videos? Were they from GPB or were they YouTube?
I'm not sure. That was Sharon's question.
Yeah, because my experience with them has been that the YouTube videos are suspect. We try to get them whitelisted, and sometimes they don't make it through the filter. Because GPB is not filtered at all, it's a trusted resource. They should be able to have access to all of them because their videos are not embedded YouTube videos. They're just GPB hosted videos.
Okay.
So if we run into trouble with that, let me know, and I can work with the folks in tech support to make sure that doesn't happen. But I mean, I think
GPB and PBS, maybe it was Discovery Ed. Those can be tricky because that, if the kids didn't have an account, they couldn't have seen the video. So Discovery Education, but we don't have that anymore. So PBS and GPB wide open.
Yeah, I think that's what it was, the Discovery Ed.
Yeah.
Thank you. There's a lot good that has been added, and I like that. I like navigating through. I'm just a little overwhelmed with everything that's being thrown at us, but at least I have some practice with GPB. I've used some of the information before, so thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I think it was confusing. Here in Georgia, we used to provide a lot of content for you guys. So I used to say it's like having Netflix, Hulu, and Amazon Prime. And teachers would get confused. They'd be like, where did she get that again? Was it GPB? Was it PBS? Was it Discovery Ed? Very confusing. So we no longer do Discovery Ed because of budget cuts, but it's just like you've lost Amazon Prime. You still have Netflix and Hulu. And I've shown you only things from GPB and PBS, and it was only a drop in the bucket. So I think it'll be fine not to have that third source of content because there's just so much already. And all of this is open. So you do not have to have a passcode. You don't have to have even an account. I mean, you can just share the link unless it's those lessons where the kids need to save their work. So it's definitely much easier now this school year.
Yeah, I've used Discovery a lot in where I was in Florida before, and not as user-friendly. And it took a lot of teaching I mean, I'm pretty technology literate, but only because my students taught me how to be that.
Yes.
That's me on that. But yeah, no, the PBS Learning, I had kind of dabbled with it but we didn't really use it much down there. And this is like amazing. And much easier to use than the Discovery.
Fantastic. Glad to hear you say that.
And, you know, I think I may be biased, but, you know, I grew up with Sesame Street and Zaboomafoo. And so when I see these characters, even as, you know, a complete adult, well, I try to be an adult, I still really am into this stuff. I do watch Sesame Street for fun. So, I mean, I just think that it's the same with our kids. They have to have some connection with these characters that they've grown up with. All right. Well, thank you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. Thanks for, again, staying with us and fleshing out our, you know, our webinar.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Tracy. I'll talk to you next week, okay?
All right, Donald, thanks a lot. I'll try and get those links to you. I'm going to go into another session right now, but I'll try and get them to you so you can use them over the weekend if I'm able to.
Not a problem if it waits till Monday.
Okay. Thanks, Donald. Have a
Thanks,
great
Tracy.
weekend.
You too.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.